Taiwan University. So today I would like to share my study, which is health living practice in families and child health in Taiwan. Okay. Before I start the presentation, I would like to give you a little bit introduction here. So there's an old saying, misery likes company, right? So that's especially true for the old population. Old population, we all know in public health, we always seen or always heard like poor population, they tend to have poor health. When they have poor health, they tend to stay in the poor group, poor populations. So we were thinking, why do we have to look at this and then just leave it happening all the time? Is there anything we can do to just break the cycle, or is there any way we can give the poor population equal chances to pursue their health? So that's the motivation we conducted this study. And for little kids, for children, we want to give them equal opportunity to pursue their health. But how can we do that? Where can we start? We decided to look into the family, where they grew up and where they learn, where they beloved. So here, family is the primary influences on child health and development. And the person who take care of them are the parents. Parents are responsible for establishing them, their health behavior and just prepare the environment for them to thrive. So health habit and perception really important to them. And we want to start with the everyday habit to establish their health behavior and health habits. However, even though we have a picture for them, we still need to take into consideration about the family socioeconomic factors. Because with the socioeconomic factors, which related to whether people know about, have access to, and can afford or motivated to engage in health enhancing behaviors. So that's the factor we need to take into account, and that would be a very important factor in our analysis as well. Talking about family poverty, actually they have been recognized as primary causes of ill health for children. In the States, there is 4.73-fold more likely to have poor health, and in UK, 6.7-fold more likely to have poor health in terms of poor populations. So we were thinking about, we always see the connection between the poor people and the poor health, but is there any inexpensive and practical health living practice way in family that can reduce the socioeconomic disparity in child health? Because we want to use the simple way, but that won't cost them much, and to improve their health. So the way we look at the issues, we have three objectives. The first one is we're looking at the association between health living practices and socioeconomic factors. The second one is we're looking at health living practices and child health with control of other socioeconomic status factors. The third one is we're still looking at health living practices and child health, but we across different income levels. So the sample we use here, we use the database, which is Taiwan Birth Cohort Study, TBCS here. That is the first large-scale longitudinal study on 1 year-long birth cohort in Taiwan, which is initiated in 2005. And the dataset documents children's health and developmental trajectories, and we use that to examine the early determinants of adult health. The data collection, actually the database includes 24,200 kids who were born in 2005. And the information was given by the mother or the primary caregivers. And the approach we use is we use the face-to-face interviews and to ask all those parents, like I said, the mother or primary caregivers, about their children's living habits or their health status or any disease or any problems in terms of their health. If they have any problems or any special condition will be recorded in the data set. And so far we have the data set recorded at the age of 18 months, 3 years old, and 5.5 years old. In this present study, and we use data and which contains 19,910 children when they are aged 36 months. And the final representative samples, we have 19,712 valid responses. We create an index which called the Child Health Living Practices in Family Index. In the following presentation, I will be saying health living practice. This is I use a very brief name for the index. So when you are hearing me like health living practices, I'm talking about the index level. So originally the rank on a likely scale but was substantially recorded as dichotomized elements. We took different variables from the data set, but we count down to the final 5 elements, which are vegetable and fruit consumptions, physical activity, personal hygiene, TV viewing, and secondhand smoke exposure at home. Those are the final 5 variables we used in this data set, from the data set, and we create the index by using the 5 different variables. And other control variables like children's sex, family structure, family income, parental education levels. And the dependent variable, we are looking at the children's health, which we call moderated health of children. And in the data, in the survey, the parents or the primary caregiver was given by the question like, your child is now about 3 years old. Overall, how would you rate your child's health status? There are 5 options like very good, good, fair, no good, or poor. If they are rated their child health as very good or good, we categorize them as having good health. Others, we categorize them as having poor health. So the analysis, we are using EFA, CFA, and univariate multivariate logistic regression to get our index and to run our statistic analysis. The results we are having here, it's a little bit small, but just bear with me, I will go through this with you. As you can see the variable on the left, we have sex and family structure and family income levels. For the genders, you can see here like more boys than girls have low to mid-low health living practices level over here. And for the low income groups, you can see here like more than half of the children from the low income family, they have low health living practices level. So which means in the low income group, half of the children they don't have health practice, they don't have a healthy living practice in their daily life. And you can see here, there is a graded association with family incomes when we across the different income levels, with higher income related to higher health living practice. So which means if children from high income levels, they tend to have a better healthy living practices, which like they wash hands more often, they know how to keep away from the secondhand smoke, they do exercise more often, things like this. For the parental education, like parents who have a higher level of education, their children tend to have a better health living practices. So when we are looking at it, just the model shows here, compared with children with low health living practices level, children with mid-high and higher health living practices level were less likely to have a poor health. So which shows if they can have better health living practices, and they will have better health. Now I want to show you the prevalence of children with poor moderated health and the health living practices level here. And you can see here on the left, you can see 4 different levels of health living practices levels. They are low, mid-high, and high. Across the income levels, we have 3 different levels, which are high, middle, and low. So as you can see here, when the health living practices level goes up, the prevalence of poor health decreasing. And that's applicable across different income levels, you can see here. Even especially in the low income groups, when the health living practices level goes up, which means if you have better health living practices, the prevalence of poor health for children reducing. So here we can say the prevalence of poor health decreases as the health practice levels increases, even across the different income levels. Okay, but the most interesting thing is over here. You can see the children from the bottom of the left, the right. You can see the children. Children from low-income family, but with high level of health living practice. The prevalence of poor health actually is much lower than children from wealthy family, but with low level of health living practices. Conducted in Taiwan, but I'm looking at the screen time, physical activity, and overweight for children. To parental modeling and restriction matters. Before I start all those studies, I would like to give you a little bit background introduction. Screen time here, the definition of the screen time is the time one spends to focus on a screen of electronic devices. Like, I know we are very lucky to live in a very convenient era. We have smartphone, we have iPad, we have computer, and we have all those entertainment sets in our house, right? The big screen TV. So all those devices make our life very easier. Everything goes faster and entertainable. But actually that brought a lot of questions, a lot of problems to our mind, to our lifestyle, and our health. So I want to look into the question, if that can jeopardize our life and as an adult life, but how about the little kids? Not to mention the little kids, their health will be impacted so much more by using all those devices. So increasing screen time for children can just change their lifestyles and bring them a lot of negative health issues. Like I mentioned here, issues of self-regard, socialization, or academic performance. Other physiology problems like childhood overweight or cardiovascular diseases are also the problem for them. So all these problems are caused by lower amount of physical activity. This is the main focus I'm going to talk about in this study. So I just mentioned that all those problems caused by low level of physical activity, but the problems will appear when in adulthood. However, when we track back all those problems and find out the causes, you will just easily understand those causes will form in the childhood. And for little kids, for children, actually when they hit to their puberty, their level of physical activity will drop very fast. So that's why we need to find out the problem, where the problem is, and really help them to develop their physical activity routine. So here, low level of physical activity and overweight will be my two main focus as my dependent variables to look into what kind of, when they are having long hours of using a screen, which I'm saying like using computer or TV viewings, what kind of impact will be on their physical activity and overweight. So, as I was saying, we need to change, especially start from childhood. So, if we want to tackle the problem, we need to start early in their childhood. So, besides school, children spend most of time with their parents and living with their family in their home. So I look into the environment they are living, and I also look into the parents' behaviors when I tackle the problem. The sample I'm using here, I have 1,031 elementary school age children, and we recruit from the Yilan city in Taiwan. And the independent variables we are using is children's screen time and parents' screen time as well. We stratify the variables by weekend and weekday. And the dependent variables we are using is children's overweight and their physical activity level. Covariate we are controlled here is children's age, family income, and parents' education backgrounds. And the methodology we are using here is ANOVA and logistic regression analysis. So here's our demographic information over here. You can see we have pretty even sample between the genders and also between different grades, but we just stratify the grades by low, mid, and high. So we put grade 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4 together, and grades 5 and 6 together to compose grade low, mid, and high. And for the family income levels, actually we got 10% of the samples, they are categorized as high income levels. And another 10% levels, we are categorized them as low income levels. So about 80% of the participants, they are categorized as just fair on the middle income levels. So what we found on this children's screen time usage, and you can see here, in terms of the impact of children's overweight, children's weekday computer use or TV use, you can see boys who watch TV more than 2 hours have much higher risk of being overweight. And you can see the second one, which is the children's computer use and TV use during the weekend. Having screen time more than 1 hour has much higher risk, especially for girls. So girls are vulnerable compared to boys when they are exposed to those TV use or computer use. And that can put them in a higher risk of having overweight. In terms of children's physical activity, actually TV during the weekday, TV has greater impact on children, especially for girls again. So girls actually, according to our results, they are more sensitive to all those screen use. And during the weekend, no matter using TV or computer, girls are more vulnerable, more sensitive to screen use than boys. So as you can see here, compared to watching TV or using computer less than 30 minutes, if the children, especially girls, if they are using this computer or TV more than 2 hours, that can create the risk by like 500% over here. So I was saying if we need to tackle the children's screen use issues, we need to look into their parents' behavior as well. So here I'm looking into the parents' weekend computer and TV usage. So for both girls and boys, their parents' TV and computer usage actually here shows the climbing gradient here. So girls seems more sensitive to screen times. If their parents are using computer or TV more than 2 hours, the girls tend to be more sensitive and put them at a higher risk of being overweight. During the weekend, still you can see the climbing gradient over here. Parental weekend screen times has not much difference between girls and boys, but they do have an impact on the risk of overweight for the little kids. Okay. And for children's physical activity, parental weekday computer use or TV use, for both girls and boys, they are exposed to similar risk. Like they can put it compared to the parents who rarely using computer or TVs. Children whose parents are using computer or TV more than 2 hours during the weekdays, that can put them on a higher risk, almost 400% of getting like low level of physical activity. And during the weekend, like the TV users still have greater impact, but girls are more sensitive to it. So you can see that girls still, they are a more vulnerable group as well. Okay, so we see the parental modeling does impact children's behavior and health, but how about their restriction? We have heard a lot of parents will say, oh, I just limit my kids can watch TV for like 30 minutes per day, but does that really work? No, nobody tests, right? It's just like you feel like you are restricting your kids and you are doing your responsibility and you are being responsible of being a parent, but we don't know if that really works. So here, my study just answered the question. We are looking into the physical and social cultural home environment for children's overweight. If you put a TV in a room, that will increase the chance of getting overweight for your kids. So you can see here like 1.79. And if you put the rules of screen time usage for your children, that can really reduce the risk of being overweight for your kids. So that does work. And that especially for boys and girls, and especially evidence on the boys. So in terms of the physical activity, if you put a TV in your kids' room, that can increase almost twofold of the risk for your children to have low level of physical activity. But if you put down the restriction of their TV usage, actually that can really reduce the risk of low level of physical activity for your kids. That does work as well, but that works better for girls. For boys, there is no significant differences. I mean, it didn't really show. But to sum up, actually, parental modeling, a parental restriction, they do help, and they do work on just reducing the risk of children reduce the risk of children getting overweight or getting low level of physical activity. However, we have some limitations for the study. The first one is the cross-sectional study. This is a cross-sectional study. So there's no way for us to really figure out is there any causal relationships can be found. So that's the difficulty. If we can just do the study for like 1, 2, 3 or more years, maybe we can have a better finding for our study. And the other thing is the details in the children and the parents' lifestyle and their screen use. We are thinking about to do the follow-up study, including more qualitative interviews, so we can really analyze what kind of reasons can cause all those differences. Why girls are more sensitive? Why, if you put down the restriction for the screen use, why it's not working? Why it's not working for boys? Low level of physical activities. So this is the next step we are going to get into. We will have some interviews with the participants and want to figure out more about the details. Thank you very much.
Because we're running out of time, so we have just received one question. It's okay. Yes. Please raise your hands if you want to ask one question. No? Okay, well.
Sorry, again I ask the same question regarding to the parents' use of TV or computers.
Yes.
And the children who use. Is there any comparison between these?
You were saying?
Regarding to is there any relationship between parents' use of the times of parents use for TV or computer devices, weekend or weekday,
That's
and
and
the-
children's
and
usage.
children use.
Okay, that's a very good question, and thank you for bringing that up. Actually, the correlation between the parental usage of TV or computer use and children's TV or computer use, they are correlated, about like 0.58. So we can imagine, because they are living together, if the parents turn on the TV, so the children will just sit and watch together. Or they are using computer, they will just do the same
I
thing.
think you mentioned there is an impact regarding to the behavior of parents and behavior of children, but statistically it is not clear. Statistically it is not clear. No p-value or significance statistical relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, significant.
Yeah. Sorry, another question regarding to the your study related to the computer devices and TV, or even phone devices and tabs and so on. All devices,
Yes,
or just computer and TV.
Computer, TV, computer, and a flat screen.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you for the question.